Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to PFRDA Grade A Phase 2 Paper 2 Marathon. And as a part of this session, as you would already be knowing that we are going to solve multiple MCQs where firstly I would be reading the question and I would encourage you to participate, to think that what you are able to, whether you're able to mark the correct answer or not, and afterwards of course we are going to discuss that what is the answer to that particular question, and we are going to discuss things one by one. First of all, we are going to see Companies Act, afterwards we will see finance questions, and then we will see the pension questions also, right? So one by one we are going to cover each and everything. But before I begin, just confirm in the chat box whether my voice is audible to you or not. If the audio, video, everything is fine, just write it in the chat box. Write yes or no, give me a thumbs up. I can read your messages. So everything is fine. Okay. Thanks Nilesh for the confirmation. So let us begin. Firstly, let us begin with the Companies Act 2013 and gradually we will move on to the other subjects also. So question number 1 on your screen. So please mark your answers. A newly incorporated non-government company is registered on 1st of April 2025. The board does not appoint its first auditor within 30 days. What is the last possible date by which the members can appoint the first auditor in the EGM? So tell me. Mark your answers. So it's 1st of April 2025. What is the last possible date? What is the last possible date? Try to think, don't be in a hurry. I just want the correct answer from your end. Yes, as Nilesh is writing, the correct answer is going to be 30th of July 2025. Because we know that if you talk about, you must have heard about Companies Act section 139(6). Now it says that board must appoint within 30 days of incorporation, right? It says it must appoint within 30 days of incorporation. But if the board fails, then what is going to happen? Then the members must appoint within what? Within 90 days of EGM. So if you calculate it, 1st May plus 90 days, what it is going to be? So from 1st April to 1st May is 30 days, right? Now the board has failed. So plus 90 days. Plus 90 days is going to be how much? It is going to be 30th of July 2025, and that is why C is going to be the correct answer to this question. I hope it is clear to you. Now let us move on to the question number 2. Which of the following situations does not qualify a person from being appointed as an auditor under section 141? Which of the following situations does not qualify a person from being appointed as an auditor under section 141? Option A, partner of the firm holds securities worth rupees 1.5 lakh in the company. Option B, relative of the auditor owes rupees 6 lakh to the company. Option C, auditor is already auditor in 20 private companies with paid up capital of rupees 50 crore each. Option D, auditor is a full-time employee in another company. And option E, auditor relative has given guarantee of rupees 75,000 to a party indebted to the company. Yes. So as I can see, all of you are writing the correct answer. Yes, the correct answer is going to be the E option, because when we talk about disqualification, whenever we talk about disqualification, there are 3 primary criteria that we should remember. The first is regarding holding securities, right? Regarding holding securities, what is the criteria when you can disqualified? When it is more than rupees 1 lakh. The second is debt. Regarding debt, it is how much? It is more than rupees 5 lakh. And if you talk about the third one is regarding guarantee, right? And what is this? It is more than rupees 1 lakh. These are the 3 things that you need to remember, right? And since over here it has given guarantee of rupees 75,000 only, right? So it is not a disqualification. It is not going to be considered as disqualification, because over here it is less than rupees 1 lakh. That has been written as a criteria under the disqualification, right? So I hope it is clear to you, and that's how E is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now moving on to the question number 3. Which of the following statements regarding remuneration of auditors under section 142 is correct? Which of the following statements under remuneration of auditors under section 142 is correct? Option A, first auditor's remuneration is fixed by members in AGM. Option B, subsequent auditor's remuneration is fixed by boards of directors. Option C, remuneration includes audit fees, out-of-pocket expenses and consultation charges. Option D, first auditor's remuneration is fixed by board, subsequent auditor's remuneration by members in AGM. And option E, remuneration excludes reimbursement of expenses. So which option is the correct one? Let me see your answers for question number 3. Yes, as Nilesh, Praneeth and Satyarth are writing, yes. So basically D is going to be the correct answer to this question, because when we talk about the first auditor, right? Who appoints the first auditor? We know that first auditor is appointed by whom? It is appointed by board. And if we talk about the remuneration of the first auditor, who fixes the remuneration? It is also again the board only, right? Board fixes the remuneration with respect to the first auditor. But if we talk about the subsequent auditors, right? Now who appoints subsequent auditor? It is not, basically it is appointed where? It is appointed in AGM. Now we know that AGM constitutes what? AGM primarily constitutes board holders are there, but there are shareholders also, right, as a part of the annual general meeting. And if we talk about remuneration is fixed by the members. So that is why basically D is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now let us move on to question number 4, which says, which of the following companies are exempt from mandatory rotation of auditors under section 139 subsection 2? Which of the following companies are exempt from mandatory rotation of auditors under section 139 subsection 2? A, listed public companies. B, private companies with paid up capital of rupees 100 crore. Option C, small companies. Option D, unlisted companies with paid up capital of rupees 15 crore. And option E, companies with public borrowing of rupees 17 crore. This is very easy question. If you know the exception, there is only one exception that you should know regarding this section. So let me see your answers for question number 4. Yes, I can see your answers over here. Yes, C is going to be the correct answer to this question, right? Because when we talk about auditor rotation, right, we know that auditor rotation applies to listed public companies, right? Unlisted companies also, provided that if their paid up capital is more than 10 crore, right? Then after that we have private companies also, right? But there is an exception. Exception is with respect to what? It is there with respect to small companies and one person companies. So with regarding this, we have this, I would say, this exception regarding this mandatory rotation of auditors. So that is why C is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now question number 5. An alternate director can be appointed in place of an existing director if original director is what? Absent from India for a continuous period of at least 1 month, absent from India for a continuous period of at least 3 months, absent due to illness irrespective of duration, absent for 6 months irrespective of location, absent from board meetings for 12 months. So what is going to be the answer for question number 5? Yes, great. So as all of you are writing, B is going to be the correct answer to this question. Pretty much factual, right? We know that basically if the alternate director has to be appointed in case of the existing director, then basically the original director that is there, he has to be absent from India for a continuous period of at least 3 months, right? So that is the reason. And what is the reason behind it? Why do we have this provision? The provision is there basically so that basically we can prevent the misuse. We can prevent the misuse with respect to short absence of the original director, right? So that's why we have the 3-month period, and that is also if it's absent from India. If it's there in the country, then the provision shall not apply. Now question number 6. Which of the following situations will create a casual vacancy in the office of director under section 161 subsection 4? Which of the following will create a casual vacancy in the office of the director under section 161 subsection 4? Option A, retirement by rotation. Option B, expiry of the director's fixed tenure. Option C, resignation. Option D, vacation of office due to exceeding directorship limit under section 165. And option E, all of the above except A and B. So tell me, For question number 6, let me see your answers. Yes, as all of you written, E is going to be the correct answer to this question, because we know that basically retirement by rotation, or if we talk about the natural expiry also, right? They are not considered casual vacancy, right? So they are going to be the incorrect options, and that is why the correct answer is going to be basically the E option. Basically all of the above, A and B, which is nothing but C and D. These are the correct ones, right? Now let us move on to question number 7. A director incurs disqualification under section 164 subsection 2 for default in filing returns. What happens under section 167 subsection 1? A director incurs disqualification under section 164 subsection 2 for default in return for filing returns. So what happens under section 167 subsection 1, because we know that both these sections are related to each other. For question number 7, even if you do not know this section, let us leave this section. Then also try to solve this answer. Just try to think. Let us ignore the section. Even if you're not able to recall the section, it's okay. Just try to reach the answer based on the rationale, whatever you have read up till now. So I can see most of you are writing A as the correct answer. Anyone else who wants to contribute? So basically the correct answer with respect to this question is going to be the B option, right? So he is going to vacate the office in all companies except the defaulting one, right? So that is why B is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now let us move on to question number 8. An independent director serving his second term is sought to be removed. Which resolution is required under section 169? An independent director serving his term is sought to be removed. Which resolution is required under section 169? Yes, as you are writing, C is going to be the correct answer. It is through the special resolution only, right? So for special resolution is required, and also the opportunity to be heard, right? So both these things are there with respect to second term. So C is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now question number 9. Which of the following is not counted for quorum in a board meeting under section 174? Which of the following is not counted in a for quorum in a board meeting under section 174? Who are excluded in this case? Yes. Yes, so basically A is going to be the correct answer to this question. So basically interested directors, we know about interested director. Basically these are the directors who are there in a who have a conflict of interest with the matter being discussed, right? And if they are included as a part of the quorum, what can happen? They can basically manipulate the decision, and that is why basically they are not counted for quorum, right? And that is why A is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now question number 10. How quorum for a board meeting determined as per section 174? So this is pretty much factual. Either you know the answer or you do not know the answer regarding quorum. And very much easy, I would say. Yes, regarding this, A is going to be the correct answer. So one third of the total strength or two director, whichever is higher. So A is going to be the correct answer with respect to this question, right? So question number 10, A is the correct answer, not B. This is my mistake. Sorry, I will rectify it. It is going to be the A1. Now question number 11. Which of the following disqualifies a person from being appointed as an independent director? Which of the following disqualifies a person from being appointed as an independent director? Let me see your answers. Holds less than 2% of total voting power. Relative owes the company rupees 40 lakh. Relative is an employee of the company's subsidiary. Has expertise in finance and law. Declares independence annually in the first board meeting. Somebody is writing option C. Okay, other most of you are writing option C and somebody writing option B. So regarding B, basically B applies. B applies only if the debt is what? Debt is more than rupees 50 lakh. Right? It is not 40 lakh. If the debt is more than rupees 50 lakh, then B point could should have been correct, right? But that is not the case. It is 40 lakh only, so you can eliminate this option. Now the C option, as most of you writing yes, if the relative is an employee, right, of the company's subsidiary, then what is going to happen? It is going to basically disqualify a person from being appointed as an independent director, because he is not going to be independent in nature. He is going to have some sort of biasness, and that is something that we do not want while appointing the independent director, because we want independent director to be free from any kind of managerial ties, right? So in order to avoid that, so that is why C is going to be the correct answer with respect to this question. Now question number 12. Which of the following statements regarding rotation of directors under section 152 is correct? Which of the following statements regarding rotation of directors under section 152 is correct? All directors in public company are liable to retire by rotation. At least two-thirds of directors other than independent or small shareholder directors must be rotational. FIFO method is not used in deciding who retires first. Retiring director cannot be reappointed if no other candidate is elected. Automatic reappointment is not allowed under any condition. So tell me, for question number 12, very easy, I would say, and most of you are giving me the correct answer. I would say all of you have given the correct answer. Yes. So basically, B is going to be the answer to this question. Right? So which of the following is is correct regarding rotation of directors? So yes, at least two-thirds of the directors must be rotational, other than the independent or small shareholder directors, right? So that is the idea. So I hope it is clear to you. And let us say if no new appointment is there, then what is going to happen? If no new appointment is there, then the retiring director is deemed to be reappointed. So that is something again you have to remember, right? So now let us move on to question number 13. Which of the following statements regarding, okay, this question got repeated, sorry. Okay, question number 14. Mr. A applies for a director identification number under section 153. Which of the following is correct? Mr. A applies for a director identification number under section 153. Which of the following is correct? DIN is allotted by the company. It is allotted by the central government. It can be allotted by registrar of company directly. It is generated by SEBI after board resolution. It is self-declared and does not require approval. So what is going to be the correct answer? For the question number 14. Yes, B is going to be the correct answer with respect to this question, because if we talk about the director identification number, we know that it is basically allotted by central government to whom? To any individual basically who is intended to be appointed as a director, right? And what does it ensure? It basically ensure traceability, and it basically prevents impersonation also, right? And for that purpose we allot this director identification number, right? So under section 153. So that is why B is going to be the correct answer. Now question number 15. Who propose a candidate under section 160? Who can propose a candidate under section 160? Only a shareholder holding minimum rupees 1 lakh worth of shares, only promoters of the company, any member or the candidate himself, only board of directors through resolution, only institutional investors. So question number 15. Yes, yes. So regarding question number 15, basically we know that regarding this, regarding section 160, what basically happens, a candidate can promote, first of all, he can promote himself, or what he can do, he can promote any member of the company, right? He can promote any member of the company. Or sorry, I should say that, instead I should say that basically a candidate, he can promote himself, or any member of the company can promote him, right? So there is no such, I would say, threshold with respect to that. So that is why C is going to be the answer with respect to that question. Now question number 16. A director is convicted and sentenced to 6 month imprisonment on 1st June 2025. So what happens to his office under section 167? A director is convicted and sentenced to 6 months imprisonment on 1st June 2025. So what happens to his office under section 167? So he vacates office immediately. He continues in office for 30 days, can appeal and remain until appeal is disposed. He cannot hold office in the company where conviction occurred but can continue in others. He is permanently disqualified. He must vacate office only if sentenced more than or equal to 7 years. So what is going to be the answer regarding question number 16? Yes, regarding question number 16, basically what happens if we talk about this specifically regarding this section 167, right? So if you talk about this section 167, it basically says that a director can vacate office if he is convicted, and if he is sentenced for how many months? Sentenced for more than or equal to 6 months, right? This is what basically it says. Now apart from that, basically a 30 days grace period is also provided, right? So that basically he can file the appeal can be filed, and if the appeal has been filed, right, then he will continue, then he is going to continue till when? Till the disposal of appeal, right? So that is what has been stated as a part of this option B only, and B is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now question number 17. Which of the following is not a valid source of dividend as per section 123? Which of the following is not a valid source of dividend as per section 123? Option A, current year's profit after providing for depreciation. Option B, profits for previous financial years after providing for depreciation. Option C, government grant for dividend guarantee. Option D, capital reserve. And option E is free reserve. So what is going to be the answer for question number 17? Dividend can be paid from what? Yes, if we talk about dividend, we know that first of all dividend can be paid from current year profits, right? It can also be paid from, I would say, profits of previous years, right? Previous years undistributed profits, right? It can also be undistributed profit. It can also be paid from government grant, right, for dividend guarantee, and apart from that, I would say from the free reserves also. But I would say capital reserve is not allowed. Capital reserve, for example, revaluation reserve or DRR, they are not allowed as a part of it, and that is why basically D is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now moving on to the next question, which is question number 18. Dividend must be transferred to a separate bank account within how many days of declaration? Dividend must be transferred to a separate bank account within how many days of declaration? Question number 18. Very easy question, I would say. Very basic question. Within how many days it shall be transferred to bank account? Yes. So regarding this, I would say B is going to be the correct answer. Very factual question. 5 days it is, right? Within 5 days, it must be transferred to bank account, right? So I hope it is clear. Now, question number 19th. Unpaid dividend must be transferred to Investor Education and Protection Fund. This is something that we already know. The question is that after how many years from transfer to unpaid dividend account? Unpaid dividend after how many years from transfer? It must be transferred to IEPF. Yes, basically it is going to be 7 years, right? So here also B is going to be the correct answer. There we had 5 years and over here we have 7 years as the answer. Now question number 20. Which of the following does not require shareholder approval under section 188 for related party transactions? So where the shareholder approval is not required? Tell me. Option A, sale or purchase of goods worth more than 10% of turnover. Option B, leasing of property exceeding 10% of net worth. Option C, transaction holding company and wholly owned subsidiary. Option D, appointment of related party to office of place of profit. Option E, sale of property exceeding 10% of net worth. Question number 20. Mark your answers. Regarding question number 20, yes, C is going to be the correct answer. So it is a kind of, I would say, exception, right? Basically, the transaction that is happening between the transaction between holding and wholly owned subsidiary, they basically do not require share approval. So what should suffice in this case? In this case, basically the board approval should suffice, right? So that is the idea. So that is why C is going to be the answer to this question. And I would say with respect to rest of the other transactions above threshold, they basically require ordinary resolution only, right? So but regarding this, we do not require any kind of shareholder approval. So C is going to be the correct answer. Now question number 21. If a related party transaction is entered without approval and not ratified within 3 months, what happens? Yes, write your answers. Contract automatically stands void. Contract becomes voidable at option of company. Contract continue with board's discretionary approval. Contract requires tribunal approval, or contract becomes valid if signed by majority directors. So mark your answers. What happens if the related party transactions is entered without approval or ratification? Yes, for question number 21, what is going to be the answer? Yes, as all of you are writing. So basically, B is going to be the correct answer to this question, because if related party transaction is entered without approval or ratification, what basically happens? It becomes voidable, right? At the option of the company. So that is why it is going to be the correct answer. And the concerned director, whoever is there, he must indemnify company against losses. So B is going to be the correct answer in this case. Now moving on to question number 22. Which of the following about the National Company Law Tribunal is correct? Which of the following statements about the National Company Law Tribunal is correct? It is constituted by RBI, constituted by SEBI, central government, high courts और President of India. What do you think? अगर सिर्फ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ही पता है तो तब भी हम इसे आंसर कर सकते हैं, बाकी पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है. फॉर क्वेश्चन नंबर 22. Yes, very easy, I would say. It is constituted by central government and it is a quasi judicial body. And what is the role? What is the function? Of course, it handles company law disputes, right? And also I would say the disputes under IBC, insolvency and bankruptcy courts, with respect to corporates, right? For example, insolvency resolution and corporate liquidity, companies liquidity disputes, right? So also sort of things are handled by NCLT. Now question number 23. The idea of setting up NCLT was suggested by which committee? It was first suggested by which committee? Injeti Srinivas, V. Balakrishnan committee, Tapan Ray committee, JJ Irani committee, or none of the above? So let me see your answers regarding question number 23. An important committee. Yes, it is basically Justice V. Balakrishnan committee, right? That basically recommended NCLT for faster resolution of corporate disputes, and B is going to be the correct answer. Now question number 24. Who is qualified to be the president of NCLT? Who is qualified to be the president of NCLT? A district judge, a judge of High Court, an advocate of High Court for 20 years, a member of Indian Corporate Law Service for 15 years, any person with experience in industrial management for 15 years. So question number 24. Yes, let me see your answers. Yes, as all of you are writing, B is going to be the correct answer. That is nothing but the judge of a high court for at least 5 years. I would say these things are very factual, nothing much to explain, right? So you must have covered it with respect to NCLT. Now the last question regarding the company law. Who appoints the auditor of a government company? Who appoints the auditor of a government company? I would say very straightforward question. You must have seen it under company law. Yes, it has to be appointed by CAG. Within how many days? Yes, as you are writing. Within how many days? Yes, I was waiting for the correct answer. Many of you are writing C. Now Manas has and Divya have given the correct answer. So B is going to be the correct answer to this question, not the C one. Right? So it is basically how many days? Within 180 days of commencement of financial year. Right? So basically the first auditor that is there, the first auditor that is there in the company, that has to be appointed by CAG within 60 days of incorporation, right? Within 60 days of incorporation. Now if he fails, now what is going to happen? Now the board is going to come into action. Now if the first auditor which he has to be appointed within 60 days, after that the board is going to come into action, and board has to do it within 30 days, right? And now if it still fails, now what is going to happen? Now if it still fails, then the shareholders are going to appoint it within 60 days. So a total is basically 180 days, and B is going to be the correct answer. Now let us move on to the finance based questions, right? So here comes the question number 1 regarding finance. A bond is a fixed income instrument that represents a loan made by an investor to a borrower. Bonds are used by a company, municipalities, states, and sovereign government to finance projects. A bond is a type of what kind of security? I would say very basic question. Yes. I don't think this requires a lot of discussion, so A is the correct answer, of course. Now question number 2. A bond is a type of debt instrument. Generally, bonds prices go up and yield goes down, and vice versa. But when bond prices go down, what can be seen in the interest rates? Question number 2. When the bond price go down, what will happen to the interest rate? For the question number 2. Yes. So regarding this, D is going to be the correct answer, because when we talk about the bond price, we know that bond price is what? It is inversely proportional to interest rate, right? If we talk about bond price with respect to yield, then again bond price is inversely related to yield, right? This is the relation that we already know. But if we talk about the relation between yield and interest rate, right? So regarding yield and interest rate, what is the relation? It is basically the direct relation. These are the three relations that you need to remember with respect to bonds, right? So D is going to be the correct answer. Now question number 3, sorry, question number 4. If an investor further invests all coupon amounts you receive at the same rate of return as the as of the yield, then you will be getting more return. Such a yield is called what? Yield to benchmark, yield to maturity, yield to standard, or none of the above? Yes, it is going to be yield to maturity, right? So we know that if we talk about yield to maturity, it is a total return anticipated on a bond if the bond is held until matures, right? So B is going to be the correct answer because over here we are talking about maturity. Now question number 5. There are various type of bonds which are issued in the financial markets in the same regard. Identify the type of bond which matures multiple time over a period over a period of time, and it can also be redeemed multiple times. And this question has been asked in RBI Grade B 2019. So good question, I would say, and a very easy one. Yes, all of you are giving the correct answer. Serial bond is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now question number, I would say next question. I think I have, this is the incorrect naming. This would be question number 6. So there is a risk in OTC derivatives because the party which is in loss might disagree to honor the contract. Such type of risk is called what? Very easy question. Yes, it is going to be what? It is going to be counterparty risk because two parties are involved as a part of this transaction, and once the one party gets defaulted, the second party suffers, and due to this basically what happens we call this counterparty risk. Now the question number 6. Interest rate futures and currency futures are regulated by whom? Interest rate futures and currency futures are regulated by whom? RBI, SEBI, RBI and SEBI, none of the above, or MCX, Multi Commodity Exchange of India? For question number 6. Let me see your answers. Yes. So regarding question number 6, I would say C is going to be the correct answer. That is both RBI as well as SEBI. Normally, if we talk about this derivative market, we know that normally SEBI regulates this derivative market. But since currency and interest rate, it comes under the purview of RBI. So these type of derivatives basically, this interest rate futures and currency futures, they are regulated by both RBI as well as SEBI, right? So that is why C is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now question number 7. Which of the following statements are incorrect? Forwards are standardized contracts. Forwards are forwards have high liquidity contracts. The counterparty risk in forward is less. So which of the following are incorrect? Yes, as most of you are writing, Basically, E is going to be the correct answer to this question, which means all of the above. So that means all the statements are incorrect, because we know that forwards are not standardized contract. This is, I would say, a very basic knowledge that we all know. So regarding this, forwards have high liquidity. No, forward basically have, they have forward contracts have no liquidity. It is not very much easy to find a buyer or seller with respect to an existing forward contract. So it has low liquidity. That is why it is also going to be an incorrect one. And the counterparty risk in case of forward is not less, it is high, right? It is high, and that is why E is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now question number 8. If current market prices of the underlying assets are increasing, then dash will make the profits, and if current market prices of the underlying assets are decreasing, then dash will make the profit. So tell me, who is going to make the profit in both these scenarios? Question number 8. Is it going to be buyer? Is it going to be seller? Yes, very easy question, I would say. Yes. So over here, A is going to be the correct answer. So basically, when the current market price of the underlying asset is increasing, then the buyer is going to make the profit, and if they are decreasing, then in this case, seller is going to make the profit. So that is why A is going to be the correct answer. Now question number 9. Now this is, I would say, a very basic question. What do the terms bullish and bearish signify in financial markets? So we know that bullish basically mean the expectation that the market will go up, whereas bearish means that the market is going to go down. So that is why basically B is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now question number 10. There is no single theory for the cause of inflation that is universally agreed upon by economists and academics, but there are few hypotheses that are commonly held. In the same regard, identify the cause of inflation, wherein inflation is caused by the overall increase in the demand of goods and services, which bids up their prices. So tell me the correct answer. What type of inflation it is? Yes, of course, A is going to be the correct answer with respect to this question, right? So basically, what is going to happen? In this case, it is going to be demand pull inflation, because it is caused by overall increase in the demands of goods and services, which basically eventually increases the prices, right? So A is going to be the correct answer. Now let us move on to the next one. Not D. This is a typo. So A is going to be the correct answer, right? Now question number 11th. Identify the situation where in an economy, the inflation and unemployment both are at high levels, contrary to conventional belief. Where both inflation and unemployment are at higher levels. Yes, Nilesh, thanks for correcting. Again, this was a typo. Demand pull हो गया, not push, right? Cost push होता है, demand pull होता है, right? Now question 11th. So basically, yes, as you all are writing, E is going to be the correct answer, because basically it is talking about the situation when there is high inflation and the unemployment is also very high. So it is going to be stagflation, because regarding stagflation, what happens basically, there is stagnation with respect to the economic growth in the country. Apart from that, the inflation is high, and such type of situation leads to high unemployment in the country also, right? So these are the characteristics of this stagflation, and that is why E is going to be the correct answer. Now question number 12. Identify the type of inflation where the general level of prices are falling. It is opposite to the effect of inflation. It is the opposite effect to inflation. So what is opposite effect of inflation? Don't get confused between disinflation and deflation. Opposite effect to inflation. Opposite effect. Read the question carefully, those who are writing A. It is not going to be disinflation, it is going to be deflation, right? So don't get confused between these terms. Disinflation basically means what? The inflation is still positive. The inflation is still positive, but only the rate of inflation. It means inflation is increasing. Maybe earlier the inflation was decreasing with the, it was increasing with the rate of 5%, let us say. Now it is still increasing, but let us say the rate is 3% only, right? So that is what, that is disinflation. But when we talk about deflation means that the price, general level of prices in the economy is falling. It is opposite to the effect, right? It is negative, right? So that is the idea. So over here B is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now question number 13. Phillips curve, which was given by William Phillips, represents which type of relationship between inflation and unemployment? Yes, is it a direct relation? Is it a positive relation or a negative relation? What do you think? Or no relation at all? Yes. So basically C is going to be the correct answer because there is a negative relation, or you can say the inverse relationship is there. It says that when the inflation goes down, basically the unemployment is going to get increased, and the vice versa is going to happen when the inflation is going to get increased, right? So that is the idea, and C is going to be the correct answer as highlighted by Phillips curve. We all know that. Now question number 14th. Identify the incorrect statement regarding the wholesale price index. Identify the correct statement regarding the wholesale price index. Wholesale price index is the price of representative basket of wholesale goods, and it has three categories. It has no cost of services. The third is base year is 2011 to 12, and the next is data for WPI is released by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, and the last is all of the above statements are incorrect. So tell me the incorrect statement. For question number 14, yes. So basically for this one, D is going to be the correct answer, not B minus. B is not going to be the answer because we know that WPI does not include services. Why does it does not include services? Because services are not something that are consumed at the wholesale level, right? So that's why the services are not put into consideration when we talk about WPI basket. But when we talk about this data that is released with respect to WPI, it is not released by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. It is basically released by Office of Economic Advisor under Ministry of Commerce and Industry, right? So that is why D is going to be the answer to this question, because the question is asking about the incorrect statement. Now question number 15th. Under the flexible inflation targeting framework, RBI and the Government of India mutually decided to keep CPI at 4% with the upper tolerance limit of 6% and the lower tolerance limit of how much percent? Very easy question. Yes, of course it is going to be what? 2%, because we know that what is the inflation target are decided by the RBI and the government. It is 4 plus minus 2%, right? Where basically the upper limit is 6%, right? Because 4 plus 2 is 6, and the lower limit is what? 4 minus 2, which is 2%. So that is going to be the answer. Now question number 16. Identify the open mutual fund scheme where there is a 3-year lock-in period. So once you have put your money, then you are going to witness the lock-in period as a part of this scheme. So what type of scheme it is? What type of mutual fund scheme it is? Yes, it is going to be what? It is going to be equity linked saving scheme, right? Which is a type of mutual fund scheme, right? Which primarily invest in equities, and it is a it has a lock-in period of three years, which is, I would say, which also has a lot of tax saving investment benefits, right? So A is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now question number 17. Yes, so Ram and Shyam have entered into a leasing agreement. Ram has sold the property to Shyam for a sum of rupees 30 lakh and then got the lease of the same property from Shyam at a very nominal rate. What kind of lease agreement is it? Yes, it is going to be sale and leaseback agreement, right? What happens in case of sale and leaseback agreement? Even if you're not the owner of the property, but while selling that property, you are going to sign a lease agreement with the second party. And what you are going to do, you are going to have these rights to use that property for a certain period of time as decided by that lease agreement, right? So that is why C is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now, question number 18. Camel's rating system is recognized international rating system that bank supervisory authorities use in order to rate financial institutions according to six factors represented by the acronym CAMELS. In the same regard, what does S stands for CAMELS? What does S stands for CAMELS? Yes, so it is going to be what? It is going to be sensitivity. So if we talk about camels, C means we know capital adequacy, right? A means asset quality, M means management quality, E means earning, L means liquidity, and S means sensitivity, right? So that is why C is going to be the correct answer. Now question number 19th. Under FRBM, government can borrow from RBI through what? Yes, it is through ways and mean advances, right? So under main and ways as mean advances, the central government or the state government, they can avail temporary loan facility from the RBI, right? And that is done through the ways and mean advances, which is allowed under FRBM Act. Now question number 20. Financial goods and services provided to economically weaker sections of the society at affordable price by financial institutions, then it is called. Yes, it is a definition of nothing but the financial inclusion only. So this question you can see has been asked in RBI Grade B Phase 2 2020. So I would say not all questions that are asked in the, I would say, exam, just because it is Phase 2, I won't say that all the questions are usually difficult. Most of the questions you will encounter in the examination, they will fall in the moderate or the easy category. Only few questions are there that are difficult if you see the past year trends, right? So now let us move on to question number 21. What type of tax is handled by CBDT? So again, you can see this is just to show you that what type of questions are asked. This has been asked in SEBI Phase 1 2020. Yes, so of course it is with respect to direct taxes. Now question number 22. GSTIN is allotted based on what? Yes, so GSTIN is allotted based on what? It is allotted based on the PAN card number. And even if you see this GSTIN structure, you can see it over here that these are the numbers that are identified with respect to PAN card number, right? Now question number 23. Which of the following is a type of direct tax? Which of the following is a type of direct tax? So STT, CTT, capital gain tax, custom duty, or minimum alternate tax. Yes, so regarding this, E is going to be the correct answer, because if we talk about custom duty, we know that it is a type of indirect tax that is imposed on import and export, right? So that it is not going to be a direct tax basically, because it is paid by the importer exporter and then passed on to the consumer later on, right? So that is why it is not going to be the answer, and rest of the taxes we know they are a type of direct taxes. Now question number 24th. Under Article 279 of the Constitution, decisions of the GST Council are taken by a majority of not less than 3/4 of the weighted votes of members present and voting. Which of the following correctly represents the voting power distribution between the union government and the state government? So what is the weightage? So out of 3/4, what is the weightage of the central government and the state government? Yes, 1/3 weightage is for what? 1/3 weightage is for the central government, and 2/3 weightage is, I would say, is with respect to the state government, right? So that is the idea. Now let us move on to the question number 25. Which subsidiary of RBI is responsible for ensuring cyber resilience of the Indian banking sector? DICGC, Rebate, IFTAS, BRB, NMPL, or RBIH? So it is regarding cyber security, regarding cyber resilience. For question number 25, yes. So basically, B is going to be the correct answer, right? We know about Rebit, RBI Information Technology Private Limited, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of RBI that deals with cyber security or cyber resilience, right? If we talk about DICGC, we know that it provides insurance, right? If we talk about IFTAS, it provides state of art infrastructure facility. If we talk about BRB and MPL, we know that it plays important role regarding note printing. And if we talk about RBI Innovation Hub, we know that it basically performs important role with respect to innovation in the financial sector, right? With respect to RBI's different, I would say, innovations. So that is why regarding this question, B is going to be the correct answer. Now the next one, which of the following institution is known as a lender of last resort? Again, another question from SEBI. So yes, it is going to be C, which is RBI, right? So I hope it is clear to you. Now let us move on to the next component, which is pension. And this is the question number 1 regarding pension. Which of the following statements about PPF and OPS is incorrect? PPF has minimum lock-in of 15 years extendable to 5-year blocks. Loan against PPF can be availed between 3rd and 6th financial year. Old pension scheme allows pension at 50% of the last drawn pay subject to a minimum of 9,000. GPF requires equal contribution by employee and employer. Premature closure of PPF is allowed after 5 years under special conditions with 1% lower interest. So regarding question number 1, what is the answer? Yes, as few of you are writing. So basically D is going to be the correct answer, because regarding GPF, what happens basically, there is no contribution of employer. Only employee contributes around 5 to 10%, right? No contribution of employer is there, and the question is asking about the incorrect answer. So D is going to be the answer to this question. Now question number 2. Mr. X has worked in private company for 23 years. His last drawn basic salary plus DA is rupees 60,000. What is his gratuity payable? So you can take your time and you can calculate it. I will give you 1 minute. You can take 1 minute, 1.5 minute, and mark your answers. What is going to be the gratuity? Question number 2. Mr. X has worked in a private company for how many years? For 23 years. And last round's salary is 60,000. What is going to be the gratuity? So first of all, what is the formula for gratuity? Right? So formula is what? We know that it is 15 into last round salary into the number of years that he has served, right? So completed year of service, you can write service years, divided by what? Divided by what? Yes, yes, divided by 26. Yes, Nilesh. So what is going to be the answer? So I don't know what is going to be the answer to this question. I will just fill the values. You can calculate it on your own. So 15 into what is his last round salary? It is going to be 60,000 into service years, that is 23, divided by 26. Whatever you will be getting is going to be the answer with respect to this question. I don't know what is the answer, so let me see it. So option C, so it is going to be 7,92,000, right? So you can calculate it on your own. So C is going to be the correct answer. Such type of questions can be asked, so it is very important that at least you should know the formula. तो फॉर्मूला थोड़ा याद रख लेना. अब पता नहीं वो न्यूमेरिकल्स पूछेंगे या नहीं, पीवाईक्यूज में तो इतना नहीं पूछा है उन्होंने, लेकिन पेपर का थोड़ा लेवल बढ़ा सकते हैं तो क्या पता वो पूछ रहे हैं आपसे, तो आपको ये आना चाहिए कि ये फॉर्मूला क्या होता है, जैसे ग्रेचुइटी का फॉर्मूला क्या है, राइट? सो ऑल्सो सॉर्ट ऑफ थिंग्स. नाउ क्वेश्चन नंबर 3. Which of the following combination is fully exempt from income tax? Which of the following combinations is fully exempt from income tax? EPF withdrawal after 5 years of service, commuted pension for a government employee, gratuity for government employee, PPF maturity proceeds, all of the above. Yes, very good learner. That was the answer. And tell me about question number 3 also. Fully exempt from income tax. So EPF, we know, if we talk about EPF withdrawal after 5 years, it is exempted from tax, right? We know that. If we talk about commuted pension with respect to government employee, right? So it is also, yes, as most of your writing, yes, is going. So this one is also exempted. So gratuity for government employee, this is also, I would say, non-taxable. And this one also, PPF maturity proceeds. So E is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now moving on to question number 4. Which pairing correctly maps registered owner versus beneficial owner of NPS securities? Which pairing correctly maps registered owner versus beneficial owner of NPS securities? Yes, for question number 4, B is going to be the correct answer. So basically NPS is a registered entity because whatever securities the NPS is purchasing for the beneficiary, right? They are being purchased on the name of NPS only, right? On the name of NPS trust only. So that is why basically NPS trust is the registered owner, and who is getting benefited at the end through these returns? It is the subscriber. So subscriber is going to be the beneficial owner. Now question number 5. A subscriber chooses LC75, which is aggressive life cycle, under auto choice of age 34. What is the maximum equity allocation until 35? Very easy question. Do not get confused with numbers. It is a very straightforward question. Yes, of course, it is going to be the D option. LC75, equity 70%, right? We know that. Very easy question. Now question number 6. What is the correct condition for partial withdrawal under all citizen tier 1 model? What is the correct condition for partial withdrawal under all citizen tier 1 model? Allowed for 5 years up to 25% of total corpus and taxable. Allowed for 3 years up to 25% of own contributions tax free. Allowed for 7 years up to 40% of contributions taxable. For allowed after 3 years up to 40% of own contributions tax free, and allowed any time up to 20% of corpus tax free. So what is going to be the correct answer? Very straightforward questions, I would say. There is nothing to understand in these points. You know, you either you know the answer or you do not know the answer in the examination. Yes. So regarding this, B is going to be the correct answer after 3 years, right? 25%, and it is going to be tax free regarding partial withdrawal, right? So that is going to be the correct answer. Now question number 7th. Under premature withdrawal, all citizen tier 1, what is the correct structure? So it is related to previous question only, somehow, somewhat. Only few modifications are there. Premature withdrawal, all citizen tier 1, what is the correct structure? Yes, for question number 7th, I would say B is going to be the correct answer. So after 5 years, if joined less than 60 years age, right? So 20% is going to be the lump sum and 80% is going to be the annuity, and annuity income is what? It is going to be taxable, right? So I hope it is clear to you. The total amount that is there, that is non-tax, that is not taxable, but the annuity income, the income that you are going to receive in the form of pension, this income is going to be taxable. So do not get confused between the tax and tax free. It is talking about the annuity income, right? So that is going to be taxable. Now the next one, question number 8. If the corporate NPS model, in the corporate NPS model, which contribution structure is accurate? In the corporate NPS model, which contribution structure is accurate? Employer must mandatorily contribute if employees contribute. Only equal contributions are allowed. Either employer or employee or both may contribute, amounts may be equal or unequal. Employer cannot contribute more than employee. Employer must contribute a minimum 14% of salary. So tell me. Let me see your answers. Yes, I would say this is an easy question. Yes, so either employee or employer or both, they may contribute amounts, and amounts may be equal or unequal. We know that with respect to government structure, we have 14%, right? That is mandatory. But if we talk about the corporate model, right, over there, it can be equal also, it can be unequal also, right? And it is also not mandatory for the employer to contribute, right? So it can be either employer or employee, they may contribute, and the amount can be equal and unequal also, depending on the employer. Now the question number 9th. Under the central government NPS model, what is the correct contribution ratio? Under the central government NPS model, what is the correct contribution ratio? Question number 9th. Yes, just now I told you in the previous question only that in case of corporate model, there is no such mandatory number that has to be followed. But regarding government, we have this mandate, right? What is the mandate? That the government has to contribute 14% of basic plus DA of the employee salary, and the employee has to contribute 10%. So B is going to be the correct answer to this question, right? Now question number 10th. Which of the following statements is correct about investment options in government NPS model? Employees can freely choose between active and passive models. Default scheme is auto choice, but only LC25 and LC50 are available, not LC75. Only active choices allowed. Government contribute only in GSEC funds, and employees can invest up to 100% in equity. So tell me, for question number 10, what do you think is the answer? Yes, so regarding this, B is going to be the correct answer to this question, as all of you have written, right? So default scheme is auto choice only, right? And we know that LC75 is not there because it is very much risky in nature, right? And government prefers to provide these option LC25 and LC50, which basically they can also provide good returns, but are less riskier as compared to this LC75, right? Where the 75% of the risk exposure is in equity. So that is why B is going to be the correct answer. Now question number 11, which is not a benefit of NPS? Which of the following is not a benefit of NPS? Low administrative and fund management charges, portability across jobs and location via PRAN, transparency with 24/7 online account, guaranteed fixed returns irrespective of market condition, and flexibility to change POPs, PFMs, and asset allocations. So of course D is going to be the correct answer because we know that NPS is market linked in nature, right? It is market linked in nature, so the returns are not guaranteed, they are not fixed at all as a part of the NPS, and that is why D is going to be the answer to this question, because it is asking about the incorrect one, which is not a benefit. In the rest of the points are benefits that are associated with this NPS. Now question number 12. Upon death of an NPS subscriber, which one is correct? NPS, a nominee can withdraw entire corpus tax free. Nominee must compulsorily purchase annuity with 40% corpus. Nominee can only receive tier 2 balance, tier 1 goes to government. Nominee must wait until subscriber would have turned 60 to withdraw. Nominee can withdraw only after minimum 3 years. Yes, so regarding question number 12, A is going to be the correct answer, because in case of death, the nominor or the legal hire, what he can do, he can withdraw the entire corpus tax free, or what he can do, he can choose to buy annuity voluntarily. So whatever he wishes to go for. So A is going to be the answer to this question. Now question number 13. If an ombudsman's order has a typographical error, subscriber should do what? File appeal with PFRDA within 30 days, file correction request within 15 days, approach SAT with proof of error, file fresh grievance through CGMS, cannot correct, order is final. So for question number 13th. Yes, if there is any kind of typographical error, or you can say if the computational error is there, then what can happen? That he can file the correction within 15 days. The correction request can be filed within 15 days, and it is just a kind of factual correction. It is not a kind of appeal, right? तो ये बस इसके लिए है, तो इसमें अपील जैसा कुछ नहीं है, छोटा सा एरर है. एरर के लिए आप 15 दिन के अंदर अपनी रिक्वेस्ट फाइल कर सकते हो, एंड यू कैन get your grievances resolved, right? So B is going to be the correct answer to this question. There is no case of appeal with PFRDA, right? So that is the answer. I hope it is clear. Now question number 14th. Which is the correct fee that a retirement advisor can charge per subscriber? Which is the correct fee that a retirement subscriber can charge per subscriber? Rupees 50 per subscriber per annum, rupees 100, rupees 120, rupees 200, or no fees allowed? What is the capping that is there regarding question number 14th? for question number 14th. So regarding this, I would say C is going to be the correct answer. That is rupees 120 per subscriber per annum. Get it verified. I don't know why you are saying A. I think C is the answer to this question, because over here the capping is there so that basically it can ensure affordability, right? And very high charges are not allowed. So that is going to be the answer. But get it verified, I would say, right? Just verify it for once. Even I am also getting confused, but I think C is the answer. 120 per subscriber per annum is the answer to this question. Question number 15th. Which statement is correct regarding tax treatment under NPS Vatsalya? Which statement is correct regarding tax treatment under NPS Vatsalya? Tax benefits are not available since it is a special scheme. Tax benefits are same as those under Tier 1 NPS accounts. Contributions by parents are deductible only up to rupees 25,000. Only employer contributions are deductible. All withdrawals are taxable irrespective of use. Yes. So regarding question number 15, as you all are writing, B is going to be the correct answer, right? It is same as those under NPS Tier 1 account. That is the tax benefit that are under section 80 CCD1, right? CCD1, right? Let me write it over as CCD1, CCD1B, and the third one is 80 CCD2, right? So these are the important tax benefit that are there and data provided as a part of NPS Tier 1 account as well as the Vatsalya account. Now question number 16th. Under UPS the contribution ratio is what? Employee 10%, government 14%, 10 10, 14 10, 10 18 or 12 14. What is the contribution ratio? Yes. So basically regarding UPS the ratio is just same as NPS only, right? It is just same as NPS. So for employee it is 10% and for the government it is going to be 14%. So which one is the option? 10, 14. Yeah, this one, A option. So A is going to be the correct answer to this question, right? Now moving on to question number 17th. Which intermediary issues the PRAN to subscribers? Which intermediary issues the PRAN to subscribers? Which intermediary issues the PRAN to subscribers? Yes, it is going to be what? It is issued by CRA, right? Central Record Keeping Agency. Wait a second, there is something under comment box. Under UPS government 18%. Yes, it is 18%. Yes, it is 18%. What did I say? Everybody is writing 18, 18. Did I say something else? Okay, okay. So, let me correct it. It is not 14, it is 18. D is going to be the correct answer. Not, let me erase it over here. It is going to be the D option, right? 18% and 10%, right? Okay. So question number 17th. Who declares daily NAVs in NPS? Okay, thank you Akhil and Nilesh, everyone, for the rectification. So who declares daily NAVs under NPS? Who declares daily NAVs under NPS? Yes, it is declared by whom? It is declared by the pension fund managers. So D is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now question number 18th. Partial withdrawal from tier 1 is allowed after. Partial withdrawal from tier 1 is allowed after. How many years? Yes, they are allowed after 3 years, up to 25% of own contribution. And are they taxable or are they tax free? They are tax free in nature, right? So that is why B is going to be the correct answer to this question. Now question number 19. In the government NPS model, which investment options are available? Active choice only, passive choice only, default auto choice, all three auto choices, only government securities. Yes, for the question number 19th. Yes, so C is going to be the correct option because we know that over here the default option is basically the auto choice, right? But only LC25 and LC50 is available. This question we have, I think we have covered few slides back also. So we know that LC75 is not available because over here the risk is very much high. The risk exposure is very much high. So basically that is the idea. Apart from that, the employees that are there under, I would say, the government NPS model, they do not get active choice flexibility like all citizen model. So C is going to be the correct answer. Now question number 20. Atal Pension Yojana is administered by whom? Ministry of Labour, Department of Financial Services, Ministry of Social Justice, Ministry of Finance, or Reserve Bank of India? Yes, it is by Department of Financial Services under PFRDA. Right? Now question number 21. How many times can contribution frequency be changed in APY per year? How many times can contribution frequency be changed in APY per year? Question number 21. Yes. So it is just once per financial year, right? So contribution frequency can be changed once per financial year as a part of APY. So B is going to be the correct answer. Now question number 22. What is the pension range guaranteed under APY? This is very easy question, I would say. Yes, so it is going to be within the range of 1000 to 5000. So it is 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000, and 5000, whatever is chosen by the subscriber. Now question number 23. Registration of retirement advisor is valid for how many years? Registration of retirement advisor is valid for how many years? Yes, it is valid for 3 years and after that it can be renewed, right? It is renewable after that. So C is going to be the correct answer. Now question number 24. Maximum compensation ombudsman can award without PFRDA ratification is how much? Rupees 2 lakh, 5 lakh, 7.5, 10 or 15? Yes, it is 10 lakh, and if it is more than 10 lakh, then what do we require? We require what? We require this ombudsman requires PFRDA ratification if it is more than 10 lakh. But if it is up till 10 lakh, then over there no PFRDA ratification is required. Now question number 25. Maximum contribution per year in tier 1 account. This is the last question for today. Yes, for question number 25, C is going to be the correct answer. It is 1000, right? So maximum contribution per year is 1000. So that is it from my end. And if you want to download the PDF regarding this marathon, so what you can do, you can join our Telegram channel, and from there you can download this PDF. I hope the session was fruitful for all of you, and thank you so much and all the best for your preparation. So now I'm ending the session.